This has got to be the dumbest thing I have ever seen. People always say Goku is a bad father, and every time I watch or hear somebody say that, I immediately question their intelligence. What makes Goku a bad father? I think I've narrowed it down to pretty much the major reason why people think Goku sucks as a father, even though this major reason is multiple reasons put together. But I'm sure there's a plethora of other reasons that I missed, but I don't care enough to do the research, and it would probably drag this video out way longer than it needs to be. Letting you guys know right now that there will be spoilers for Dragon Ball and Hunter x Hunter. Don't say you weren't warned. I will be comparing Goku, a good father, to Ging, a bad father. So people say Goku is a bad dad because he's absent from Gohan's life. But let's go back to the very beginning and see if this is actually true. The first time we see Goku and Gohan together and oh, it's literally the first episode and Goku has already saved Gohan. Don't get tired of hearing that because it becomes a trend for Gohan to get himself into some trouble and need saving, only for Goku to come and save him. Skipping ahead past the introductions, we get to the Raditz fight, and guess what? That's 2 in the first arc. Goku has shown twice now that he's willing to do anything to save Gohan. This really applies more to the second case than the first, but you get the idea. I'd also like to point out that the person people say had a bigger impact in Gohan's life, Piccolo, literally kidnapped Gohan after watching Gohan watch his father die and then forced him to fight for his life daily for like an entire year. But moving on. Looking at the comparison father in Ging actively stayed hidden away from his son from the moment he was born up until Gon had charred himself crispy and still didn't even show up, instead deciding that there were more important things that he needed to do, like try and become the Hunter president. And when he was called out by multiple people, instead of realizing that he put other things before his son's own well-being and life, he decides that the best option is to throw hands with everyone.
You think we're stupid? Take him there yourself! You're his dad, right? Hey, I've heard enough! You wanna fight? If you got a problem, then why don't you bring it on?
Ging cared more about playing his elaborate game of hide and seek than he did to make sure that Gon was even alive. Even everyone around Ging could see that he didn't actually care to see Gon and actively cheered when he got his ass beat.
Bastard! You asshole! Wow!
I don't think anyone saw that
coming! People often also like to say that Goku puts his training above his family, citing the many times that Goku has gone off to King Kai's or Beerus' world. But they also fail to realize that Goku has to constantly get stronger for the sake of his family. There are many cases where we see what happens when Goku isn't strong enough. Like in the alternate timeline, we got to see Goku get stripped of his strength and body, and what happens then? Or in the Android Saga, we get to see what happens when Goku isn't strong enough or even around. If Goku isn't constantly gaining strength and getting stronger, then everyone he loves and cares about dies. Now you might be saying, but Goku enjoys fighting and puts it above his family selfishly. And to that I say, so what? So what if he enjoys the responsibility that he has to take on? That's good on him, honestly. We've already established that Goku has to fight, so if anything, he should be enjoying what he's doing. I mean, he's stuck doing it for the rest of his life, and, you know, the rest of his family's lives as well. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is probably the most irritating to me, is the Cell Saga and the stuff revolving around it. People love to use this one as a rebuttal to the whole Piccolo kidnapped Gohan and forced them to fight for his life thing, because Gohan hates fighting and Goku also forced Gohan to fight. But this isn't really a fair comparison, because if you look at the circumstances, Piccolo made Gohan survive. He didn't really instill any major techniques besides basic fighting skills and whatnot. And the only reason he ever needed to do this was because Goku, at the time, wasn't a complete maniac and didn't force Gohan to learn to fight like he did and allowed Gohan to live like a normal child. Where Goku not only trained with Gohan in the hyperbolic time chamber for a full year, but then realized that Gohan was stronger than him and prepared him for the fight with Cell. And then afterwards, he made it up to Gohan with some rest and relaxation, celebrating his birthday and cake. If you ask me, this is the same as your parents making you go to the doctors and getting a shot and then going out for McDonald's afterwards. It just shows that Goku cares more about what Gohan actually wants, well, around this time. Later on down the line, we can see that Goku doesn't even call on Gohan to fight anymore because he knows Gohan doesn't enjoy it and Gohan would rather be a teacher or live a normal life. So instead, he takes on the burden and trains so much so that he can handle any of the dangerous enemies who are constantly coming and jeopardizing the earth, like Beerus and Moro and maybe the Cerulean. I don't really know what's going on with that whole story arc yet. But now let's look at Ging, and if you couldn't tell, yes, I am making Ging look worse than Goku for the sake of this argument, but I'm not exaggerating most of the details, if any at all. Everything I referenced from the anime has actually happened, and as stated earlier, Ging wasn't even around in the beginning of Gohan's life. Gohan has a few scattered memories, but everything else he had to gain from other people telling him. Ging practically gave Gohan an ultimatum in become a hunter or don't get to meet me. In case you didn't realize how terrible this actually is, around the time that Gohan proves to Mito that he's strong enough to become a hunter, he's like 12. In the hunter exam alone, Gohan was met with criminals, murderers, and perhaps the biggest pedo in anime history, and from there it literally only gets worse. By the end of Gohan's story, he has had fights with one of the most dangerous gangs, has almost died on multiple occasions, and has fought creatures comparable to gods in their respective universe. And on top of all of this, Ging makes Gohan climb the damn world tree to have a damn conversation. When Gohan has finally recovered from his career-ending injury and finally sees what his dad looks like in person, he literally only asked for a conversation, and Ging decided that he's just too busy for that. But taking a step back, because this is devolving into a rant about Hunter x Hunter, my point here is Ging forced Gohan into a dangerous world for something as basic as a conversation, where Goku sacrificed his life so many times on so many different occasions so that his son could continue to live normally, oblivious to the dangers of the world and the entire universe. In Super, Goku constantly avoids putting Gohan in dangerous situations and really only forces Gohan to fight when he knows that he's able to step in and protect him. I could go on and on about how Goku does many things to save his family and give them a normal life, and also save the earth many times. And I could also continue to make Ging look worse and worse to complement these points. All this aside, Goku isn't the best father, and I can think of moments like the entire Tournament of Power arc where Goku's idiocy put his family, his planet, and the entire universe on the line. But Goku isn't a bad father by any means. He's done what others couldn't and wouldn't for the sake of his family, and especially for the sake of Gohan. And at the end of the day, even if they die, Goku will just get stronger and bring them back anyways.